The roar of an engine, the smell of burning rubber, the sound of a crowd holding its breath. Formula One has always been the theater of dreams, a place where science, engineering, and human willpower collide at 200 miles an hour. But here's the question nobody asks. Where do the men and women who create these machines of speed actually come from? The answer doesn't begin in Monaco, Silverstone, or Monza. It begins in places far less glamorous. University workshops, cramped garages, and lecture halls buzzing with young minds. It begins with Formula Student, a competition that has quietly become the breeding ground of Formula One's next generation. Picture this, a university campus at 3 a.m. Fluorescent lights flicker. A half-built race car sits on a stand. Around it, a dozen students are scattered like soldiers in a war room. One running aerodynamic simulations, another soldering wires with trembling hands, another arguing over suspension geometry. Coffee cups pile up like battle scars. The air smells of grease, burnt circuits, and ambition. This is not a classroom anymore. This is a crucible. And for these students, it feels like life or death. Because they know, if they can prove themselves here, Formula Student could be their ticket to Formula One. Formula Student wasn't born out of spectacle. It was born out of necessity. By the late 20th century, motorsport had transformed. Formula One cars were no longer mechanical beasts. They were complex ecosystems of electronics, aerodynamics, and precision engineering. Teams needed more than theorists. They needed engineers who could build, test, and defend their designs under pressure. That's when Formula SAE in the US, and later Formula Student in Europe, emerged. The idea was deceptively simple. Challenge students to design and build a single-seater race car from scratch, not just to race, but to defend before panels of industry experts. Every decision, from suspension arms to brake calipers, had to be justified. Every bolt, every line of code, every aerodynamic surface, explained. It wasn't about who built the fastest car, it was about who could think like a Formula One engineer. And soon, F1 teams noticed. Today, an estimated 40 to 50% of engineers in the F1 paddock are Formula Student alumni. That quiet revolution began here, in garages filled with sleepless students and impossible dreams. For students, Formula Student is no weekend hobby. It's a full-scale, high-stakes campaign. Budgets are tight, deadlines are brutal, the rule book is thick with restrictions. Teams spend 12 to 18 months building their car, and every decision is a gamble. Durability versus weight, combustion versus electric powertrains, risk versus safety. The tension is relentless. Imagine this scene. It's the night before competition. A team's car refuses to start. Panic spreads. Students scramble, replacing sensors, debugging code, improvising fixes with whatever tools they can find. Hours tick by. For some, it feels like the end of the world. But in these moments of chaos, something extraordinary happens. Resilience is forged. The very resilience Formula One demands. Because F1 is not just about brilliance. It is about surviving the impossible. And that's exactly what Formula Student teaches. Why do F1 teams value Formula Student graduates so highly? Because the competition mirrors the very structure of Formula One itself. Design and innovation. Students balance creativity with regulations, pushing limits without breaking rules, just as F1 engineers must do every season. Teamwork and leadership. These are not solo projects. A Formula Student team can include 30 to 80 members, designers, fabricators, finance managers, logistics coordinators, even PR leads. It operates like a miniature racing outfit. Presentation and defense. Students don't just build. They must defend their work before judges who often come directly from F1 giants like Mercedes, McLaren, or Red Bull. The results are undeniable. In 2022 alone, more than 150 Formula Student alumni were employed. Or James Key, who rose to become technical director for McLaren, Sauber, and AlphaTauri. Long before he was trusted with leading cutting-edge F1 operations, Key was a young student wrestling with the brutal truth of motorsport. Innovation requires risk, and risk often ends in failure. Formula Student taught him resilience years before Formula One demanded it, and the pipeline isn't slowing. Consider Amira Khan, a fictional composite of current students. She's a third-year mechanical engineering student in the UK, spending nights fabricating chassis parts, her hands blistered from welding. She knows she may never drive an F1 car, But she also knows the suspension geometry she's calculating today could one day decide whether a Formula One driver finishes first or crashes out. Students like Amira carry the same hunger James Allison once had. For many, Formula Student is their first taste of racing, a chance to see an idea transform into something alive, roaring, and real. Some call it addictive, others call it a gateway drug to Formula One, because Formula Student is not a stepping stone. It is the foundation, the pipeline. The moment when dreams stop being abstract and start being welded, wired, and tested under fire. And yet, this is only the beginning. Beyond the garage doors of universities lies the proving ground where these dreams will be tested, the competitions themselves. Here, under the glare of judges and the roar of prototype engines, lives will change forever. If Formula Student mirrors Formula One, then competition day is its race weekend. Months, sometimes years, of blood, sweat, and late nights lead to this moment. Teams arrive at circuits like Silverstone with cars still smelling of freshly cut carbon fiber, laptops loaded with final calibration files, and a mountain of nervous energy. The atmosphere is electric. Cars are rolled out of trailers like sacred relics. Students wear matching team shirts, their university logos proudly displayed, knowing they're not just representing themselves, but the reputations of entire institutions. And then comes the scrutiny. Before a single wheel can touch the track, cars are inspected down to the smallest bolt. Judges in polo shirts, many of them Formula One engineers, poke, prod, and question. Does the weld hold? Is the wiring safe? Has every regulation been respected? The tension is unbearable. A single failed inspection could mean months of work ending without a lap turned. Once cleared, the real drama begins. Static events, design presentations, business cases, cost reports, test students' ability to think like professionals. Judges fire rapid questions. Why this material? Why this geometry? What happens if your brake system fails at 1.5 G? Every answer can mean points gained or lost, but the heart of the competition lies on the track. First, the car stutters onto the course for acceleration tests. Then it navigates skid pads and autocross events, testing agility and control. Finally, the endurance event, a grueling hour-long trial where reliability matters more than raw speed. Imagine standing at the pit wall during endurance. Students clutch laptops, radios, and spare tools, their faces pale with tension. Every lap feels like a lifetime. A misfire here, a suspension failure there. Entire seasons crumble in seconds. Yet when a car crosses the finish line intact, the eruption of cheers rivals any Formula One podium. Because for these students, it is nothing less than survival. Every Formula Student competitor remembers their first breakthrough. Maybe it's the engine roaring to life after weeks of silence. Maybe it's seeing their car glide smoothly through a slalom that once seemed impossible. But often it's the smallest details that make the difference. A suspension redesign that saves half a kilogram, a new cooling duct that prevents overheating, a line of code that stabilizes torque delivery in an electric drivetrain. These microscopic gains echo Formula One's reality, hundredths of a second, grams of weight, whispers of downforce. In chasing these margins, students learn to think like F1 engineers. And sometimes the innovations transfer directly. Take electric powertrains. Formula Student teams experimenting with high-efficiency battery cooling and energy recovery systems in the 2000s helped inspire concepts now refined in F1's hybrid era. The bridge between the university garage and Grand Prix paddock is shorter than most fans realize. The road from a dusty campus lab to the pristine, high-pressure world of Formula One is rarely straight. It's filled with rejection letters, failed prototypes, and self-doubt. But Formula Student alumni prove again and again that this crucible prepares them for the climb. Recruiters from F1 teams attend Formula Student competitions regularly. They aren't just looking for technical brilliance, they're looking for mindset. Can this student improvise under pressure? Can they manage a team? Can they survive the chaos of motorsport? That's why the F1 paddock is filled with quiet veterans of Formula Student. Engineers hunched over laptops in Mercedes' garage, strategists running simulations at Ferrari, aerodynamicists refining Red Bull's dominant designs. Many of them first cut their teeth on cars built in university basements. Take James Key, who once wondered if he'd ever make it beyond the classroom. Today, His fingerprints can be found on cars raced by McLaren and AlphaTauri. Or James Allison, who went from defending student design choices to orchestrating Mercedes' hybrid-era dominance. Their paths prove that Formula Student is not just an extracurricular, it's a launch pad. But behind the triumphs lies a darker truth: the cost of chasing perfection. Teams work under suffocating pressure. Friendships are tested. Sleep deprivation becomes normal. Some students burn out, their passion consumed by the relentless cycle of deadlines and setbacks. Formula Student doesn't guarantee success. For every team that finishes an endurance event, there are dozens whose cars fail to start. For every graduate who reaches Formula One, many pivot to other industries. Yet even in failure, the crucible shapes them. They emerge as engineers who can thrive under impossible conditions, an ability prized far beyond motorsport. Formula Student is no longer just a competition. It's an institution, a global ecosystem. Over 600 universities worldwide now participate, with tens of thousands of students building cars every year. Their impact spreads far beyond the racetrack. Graduates who don't enter Formula One often move into aerospace, renewable energy, or automotive innovation. Skills learned under pressure, project management, systems integration, rapid problem solving, become the foundation for breakthroughs in industries that shape our future. But in Formula One, the legacy is even clearer. Every Grand Prix car on the grid carries invisible fingerprints of Formula Student alumni. An aerodynamic flourish here, a cooling innovation there, a control system refined by someone who once stayed up all night debugging code in a campus garage. So, the next time the lights go out at a Formula One race and you see 20 cars hurtling into the first corner, remember this: their story didn't begin in Monaco, Bahrain, or Singapore. It began in university garages lit by buzzing fluorescent bulbs. It began with students welding frames at midnight, arguing over design equations, and praying their engines would cough to life. Formula Student is not a stepping stone. It is the foundation, the quiet revolution that ensures Formula One never runs out of brilliance, resilience, and fire. Because before the champagne sprays, before the podium ceremonies, before the glory of Formula One, there is a group of students somewhere in the world building a car that just might change everything. And maybe, just maybe, one of them will be the next great name in Formula One.